We are here today to actually submit a memorandum to Suhakam with regards to the case of Lena Hendry and how it was actually, it was with regards to an issue which actually took place in July 3rd, 2013. So when we screened we had a private screening on No Fire Zone, a documentary on the former war in Sri Lanka for the alleged war crimes there. And it was actually directed by the British director, Mr. Callum McRae, and the screening was actually organised at the request of Mr. Callum McRae. What happened subsequently is that during that night of the screening was actually raided by officials from the Home Ministry, Immigration Department and the police. And the organisers who were arrested were Ms. Anna Ha, Mr. Aro Prakash, who was the executive director, and Ms. Lena Hendry on my right here. However, out of those who were arrested, only Ms. Lena Hendry was charged under the Film Censorship Act. She had actually filed an application to the High Court to strike out the case on the basis that the charges were against Article 10 of the Federal Constitution. However, the charges were dismissed on the grounds that the Film Censorship Act 2002 is a reasonable and a proportionate restriction to the freedom of speech and expression guaranteed in Article 10 of the Federal Constitution. The trial at the Magistrate Court resumed on November 2016, and on February 21st, 2017, Lena Hendry was found guilty to the charges. Currently, Lena is waiting for a sentencing that will be held next Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. on the 22nd of March 2017. So this is a gross violation of the right to freedom of expression and the public's right to information and also opinion. And the act that she is charged under regulates all matters related to the censorship of films. However, it carries a wide regulation and makes all films illegal unless approved by the censorship board. The law does not have any written guidelines on which type of films are subjected to censorship. The implementation of the law is under the sole discretion of the Home Ministry, which has the real possibility of ensuring the culture of self-censorship, the existence of unreal content, the threat to filmmakers, the threat to human rights defenders, and the limiting of open learning environment. With this law in place, it is a challenge for people to defend freedom of expression and the right to information in Malaysia. Our Constitution guarantees every citizen the right to freedom of expression as contained in Article 10. However, this seems academic when one appreciated the magnitude of the implication of the charges against Lena Hendry. So, Commas actually urgently calls on Suhakam to condemn the court's bad decision in this case, which curtails freedom of expression, which is enshrined in the Federal Constitution, to seek the intervention from the AG chambers to give Lena Hendry a binding over and be cleared from all criminal records before the sentencing on 22nd March 2017, to ensure in all circumstances that Commas and its members, as well as all human rights defenders in Malaysia, are able to carry out their legitimate activities without any hindrance and fear of reprisals. And lastly, to ensure that the government agencies in all circumstances respect human rights and fundamental freedoms in accordance with international human rights standards and international instruments ratified by Malaysia.
This case, it has set a very bad precedence towards using film or using film as a tool for human rights education, because it has an implication towards all human rights defenders in Malaysia, and not just confined to human rights defenders, filmmakers, academicians, universities, colleges who use films as an education or awareness purposes. So it kind of sets a very negative precedence because it has instilled this type of fear culture or even self-censorship, and people are starting to be, or even actually academicians are starting to be fearful in screening films in their classes towards their students, even for education purposes, which was never the case before. And doing a blanket ban on all films, especially films that matter and being used for education purposes, shows curtailing the lack of information that is available, and also being repressive and trying to stop people from expressing or even spreading information or important information.